How good was Terrence Shannon? Yikes. That's what Brad Underwood said after Illinois' win over Colgate on Sunday. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to From Beyond the Pain podcast. I'm Cody. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. We're back. I didn't do a live stream Sunday or a podcast on Sunday because I know all of us were fucking watching the Bears game. I had both the Illinois and the Bears game on. You know what? For as bad as that Bears game was, I wish I just didn't watch the Bears game at all, and I just watched Illinois because Illinois won, and the Bears broke my heart like they always do. Anyway, as you can see in the title, is Terrence Shannon Jr. the best guard in the Big Ten? We're going to talk about a little bit of that in this episode. We're going to preview Mizzou coming up on Friday. My heart is on the line. My coworker Ryan Herrera, a Mizzou alum, he is not let go of everything that happened against Mizzou last year. He lets me fucking know at least once a week that Illinois lost to Mizzou. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but man, did he not shut up about it for like 3 months after they lost to Mizzou last year. So I mentally need Illinois to beat Mizzou on Friday. So we'll preview that a little bit. I did want to talk about the game against Colgate just a little bit because it's a game that I haven't talked about via the podcast. If you're new here, I see there's about 15 people watching right now. Hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's going to be a ton of baseball content coming up on, once the baseball season comes back around in the new year. But if you are an Illini basketball fan like I am, and why I'm doing this podcast, hit the subscribe button. Illinois is my second love. I watch the Cubs are number one, and then in the winter, and I would feel differently if the Bears would actually be good, but they never are. But Illinois is my second love, and when baseball is not on, Illinois is the team I'm following, what I'm absolutely obsessed with. So, again, doing a lot more baseball stuff, and I know in the new year, and I know a lot more people know me because of that. But hey, college basketball fans, come hang out with me because I need more Illini fans in my life. All right. Brandon B in the chat says he didn't play great against Tennessee. I would agree. Terrence Shannon Jr. did not play great against Tennessee. He had a better second half in that game, but overall he did not have the best game. But I wouldn't say he's the reason they lost that game. I would say that the reason they lost that game was because Marcus Damask was basically a no-show in that game. Personally, that's how I feel. If you missed the last podcast, the last video, whatever, you can subscribe to From Beyond the Pain on Spotify. But the video before this one, I talked a lot about the Tennessee game, so you can go check that out after this if you want. But Illinois did a lot of what I asked about in their game against Colgate that I asked in that last podcast. I asked for them to come out and just take care of business. Don't let Colgate hang around. Don't let Colgate, somewhat get some sort of moral victory out of this. And you can argue maybe they did. But the first half, Illinois absolutely dominated this game. They started the game 14-0 run. They dominated the first half, folks. I believe it was 40. I've had it up the box score. Here we go. 44-27 after the first half. Colgate hung with them in the second half. It was a 30-30 game in the second half. Illinois wins 74-57. The Stars, for a non-conference game against Colgate, I thought they played pretty well. Colgate, Brad Underwood talked a lot in his post-game presser a lot about how Colgate is projected to be like a 13 or 14 seed. So this is kind of like a test for like down the road because Illinois is projected to probably be a 3 or a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. We see upsets year in and year out in the NCAA tournament. Conference foe that we all know well, Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, 16 seed. Not just saying that just to say it, but maybe I am. Sorry, Greg Braggs. Love you. But in this game against Colgate, Coleman Hawkins, 16 points. Quincy Guerrier, 15 points. Marcus Damascus bounced back after a bad game against Tennessee, puts up 15 points in this game. Didn't shoot it well, but he did go 6 for 6 from the free throw line, which for how much I've complained about their free throw shooting, it's been very good of late. And Terrence Shannon Jr., 14 points in this one, but more impressively, 5 blocks. I doubt we're going to ever see that again, but he just made an impact on the game, and that's why you can argue maybe that Terrence Shannon Jr. is one of the best guards in college basketball. I thought the bench played pretty well. Not Ty Rodgers. He started. He had 8 rebounds, though, and 5 assists, which is, I like to see that. Dane Danger, a little bit of a bounce back after the game against Tennessee, where he was basically a non-factor. 14 minutes, 5 points, 8 rebounds. Luke Goody, 3 points. He hit the 1-3 that he had. Took 2 shots, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Justin Harmon scored. Gibbs Lawhorn played but didn't score. But overall, I like to see what Dane Danger and Luke Goody and Justin Harmon are just playing important minutes that matter, playing good defense, whatever. They between the three of them, they only had 3 turnovers. They were able to get got a lot of rebounds. Overall for the team, 13 turnovers in this game. I think that ended up being 1 or 2 more than Colgate. If I scroll up and just look, Colgate had 11. And I thought the reason that Colgate played a lot better in the second half was because Illinois got a little sloppy there. They turned the ball over way too much, I thought, in the second half. But I won't complain too much. When you win a game, you're supposed to win. And again, they won 74-57. And considering how well they've been playing over this last 5-game stretch, I won't complain too much. The 3 things that I complain about this team a lot at the beginning of the year was definitely the missed free throws, turnovers, and 3-point shooting. Well, in this game, they went 20 for 22 at the free throw line. They were 8 for 23 from 3. And again, 13 turnovers. I can live with that. Let's go to the chat. We got some people watching tonight. Hell yeah, brother. Let's see. Marcus picked a bad night to go cold. I'm assuming you're relaying that to the Tennessee game. Underwood got outcoached, and he admitted to that. Probably talking about the Tennessee game. Northside Soundtrack says Braden Smith and Shannon in a tier of their own guard-wise in the Big Ten. I agree. I have to listen to Greg Braggs Jr. tell me all about Braden Smith and Purdue, but I would also agree he's very good. And Purdue's win over Arizona the other day was mighty impressive. I absolutely bet Arizona to beat Purdue on Saturday, and I lost money. Let's see this comment. Biggest thing that was great to see from Coleman against Colgate was points in the paint, and I would agree. I would absolutely agree. One of the things that Coleman Hawkins does that gets on my goddamn nerves, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is every time they do the pick and pop and this motherfucker ends up doing some sort of step back 3, man. I can't take it, man. I can't take it. 2 for 6 from 3 in this game. I thought he was active. I thought he took advantage of the size that he has over a team like Colgate. And I just need to see more of it, man. Like when they get into the Big Ten play, when they're playing guys that are around their size, when they're playing, hard-nosed Big Ten basketball, I'm intrigued to see how he plays differently this year compared to last year. Personally, I just think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive, needs to act bigger, I guess you could say. It's easier said than done, but I will say I thought he played pretty well against Tennessee, so you got consecutive games here. About 5 games ago, I was saying we need Coleman Hawkins to be better. I know he kind of had an injury issue around that time when they were going through that non-conference schedule, but they're going to need him to grow as the season goes along. I was talking to a buddy. I want to say I was talking to someone from work. I want to say it was my good friend Herb Lawrence from CSGO White Sox. And we were talking about Coleman and how, comparably to other players throughout their tenures with Illinois, you see like a growth with them every year. And I feel like Coleman Hawkins just isn't that guy. I could be completely wrong with that, but it feels like that. And this not to say that I don't think he's a good player or that he hasn't lived up to the expectations or hype. Maybe I overhyped him whenever he first got to Illinois when he was barely playing, and I was hopeful for the year after they lost to Loyola that he would take a big step in the program and be a major contributor. You saw signs of that coming, but I don't know. I just never felt like we have seen just a straight up on him over his course at Illinois. He's been a very good player. He's probably going to go to the NBA. He's a perfect body for the NBA. But I guess I'm just asking for a little bit more. So I'm interested to see how he does once we get into Big Ten play. Hell, if he has a great game against Mizzou on Friday, that will be part of, I will call that a Coleman Hawkins legacy game. All right. So overall, again, this game against Colgate, Illinois played, they played well. And again, I want to emphasize again that Brad Underwood in postgame emphasized how this is like a test for whenever they play, when they play in that first round of the NCAA tournament, if they get a 3 or 4 seed, which is where this team projects right now, if they continue to ascend like they have. So, I was pleased by, his post-game presser. Obviously, there's things to work on. This team still has some issues. But to see them bounce back like this after the loss against Tennessee, which was kind of agonizing considering how well they played in that first half and then not playing well in the second half, I'll take it. So that's where I'm at on that game. Now, we're going to save Mizzou for last. But the reason that the title is about Terrence Shannon Jr. is Andy Katz, I believe, put out his top 10 players, I believe. I'm trying to find it. It was on the NCAA or the NCAA March Madness Twitter account. It's like a ranking that Andy Katz put out. And of course I didn't save the tweet. Of course I didn't. So I'm ill prepared. Everyone please yell at me. That's fine. I wish I could find it. But he had Terrence Shannon Jr. in this list at number 3 behind Zach Edey and I believe Hunter Dickinson. And this was I think it's just overall players in college basketball. Hopefully I can find this. I'm going to feel really stupid if I can't find it. I swear it's from the NCAA March Madness Twitter account. I swear it is. They post way too damn much, bro. Oh, no, those are teams. I did see that John Rothstein had Illinois in his top 10 though this week, which is exciting, and I'm happy to see that. I mean, I don't know how much people really read into other people's rankings. Do some people just look at the AP poll and that's it, or do you give a shit what a guy like John Rothstein thinks, or Andy Katz? Personally, those two are the two guys that I enjoy the most when it comes to college basketball content, or the reporters who are covering this game or this league year in and year out. I'm not big on Jeff Goodman. I'm not big on some of the other ESPN guys. But those two that I mentioned, those are some of my favorites that I like to follow. And sure, John, I enjoy his phrases and whatever, and a lot of people don't like them. I don't know why. I think people just live to hate. You know what? I don't blame you. I live to hate too. Anyway, I can't find this list, but I swear it was an Andy Katz list, and it had Terrence Shannon Jr. number 3 on his list in terms of, just overall best players in the country. And I was like, whoa. I was a little caught back. I couldn't believe it. So I'm interested in anyone's thoughts on Terrence Shannon Jr. As you want to break it down to just the Big Ten. I think he's first team All Big Ten. I think he's headed for an All-American season. You know what I mean? He's been everything that Illinois could have asked for in his final year. He like Brad Underwood, like in that post-game presser when I opened the show, he basically said it. Like, how about Terrence Shannon Jr.? Yikes. So he's scored at least 14 points in every game this season. Double figure scoring in 20 straight games dating back to January 31st of this year. So credit to this is on the Illini. It's like their app, the Illinois Athletics app or whatever I'm getting this information from. So thank you for providing this information to me. So he just continues to be just so fun to watch too. What gets me riled up about Terrence Shannon Jr. is that when they get in transition and he gets the ball at half court, he is go. And it doesn't matter if there are 2-3 guys at the hoop. He's not afraid of anyone. So he is creating contact, going to the free throw line, or, dishing it, get it for an open three for someone. Like, he is making all the right plays right now. And it's been really fun to watch. Derek Wade in the chat says, TSJ is the best guard in the draft. Hey, I ain't arguing with you, brother. I ain't arguing with you. I ain't arguing with you right now. And I guess for me, it's not that I'm like necessarily surprised. Maybe I am a little bit, because last year I felt like he was just so inconsistent. He'd go a half where he doesn't score at all, but then he would score like 25 in the next half. And so you're just kind of like, where is this like for the entire game? The vibes with this program were not good last year. So maybe it's a mixture of that too. This Illinois team is playing a lot different from last year. And again, if you've been following the podcast, watching the podcast, whatever, since I started, I did enter the year down on this team. I did not know what to expect. I had very low expectations. I guess my lowest of low expectations was just making the NCAA tournament, and whatever happens. Probably not go to the Sweet 16, but they've played very well here in December, and it's exciting, and I'm at least intrigued. I'm not bought in yet, but I am at least intrigued, and I'm excited to see where things could go, especially in a year where the Big Ten is down. The Big Ten continues this month to just be a dumpster fire. However, they also at the same time don't make sense. Michigan State has been awful, but then they destroy Baylor on Saturday. Indiana is a dumpster fire. I thought they'd be better. They blow a double-digit lead to Kansas and lose. And then last night, they almost lose to Morehead State. They win by 1. Make it make sense. Michigan, meh. They're just not, they don't scare me. It's like the only team in this conference that scares me is Purdue. And that makes sense. That makes sense on why they scare me, right? Maybe Northwestern, there's some revenge Illinois owes Northwestern from last year. They brought back a lot of their same team. Like, they scare me. Like, maybe I'm just not very afraid. Like, I think Michigan State will be better down the road, but it doesn't. A lot of what the Big Ten has been so far in this non-conference season has been very mid at best. Mid at best. So when I consider that, and I consider how Illinois has played, what bad loss does Illinois have on their resume? None. They don't have a bad loss on their resume. They lost to Marquette, who's a top 10 team, even though they just lost to Providence last night. Tough to go to Providence and win, whether Ed Cooley is there or not. And it was a tough Big East road game for them, so it's probably not going to hurt them in the long run. Either way, they lost to Marquette. They've lost to Tennessee, which is a solid top 25 team in the SEC. And that's it. Like, they beat FAU at Madison Square Garden. They beat Rutgers at Rutgers, and they won all the games that they're supposed to win. Illinois doesn't have a bad loss, and there's almost every team in the Big Ten has a bad loss. All right. Shit. At one point today, I was watching Iowa and UMBC, and Iowa was losing to them, and I was like, this is going to be laugh out loud funny. Then Iowa went on to just finally just decide that, hey, we're playing UNBC, and they started whooping that ass. But it just goes back to what I'm saying about the Big Ten, and I just don't understand it, and I think it's very mid. And so I don't think nearly as many teams as we normally see should get into the tournament this year. We'll see how things pan out. So, again, I just want to give Terrence Shannon Jr. his flowers because, again, I think he's been great. He's a big reason why Illinois is playing as well as they have. Brad Underwood touches on him. Last year he touched a lot about how TSJ and his lack of leadership, wasn't showing up, and everyone kind of took it as, Brad Underwood calling out the team and just some soft shit from soft fans, in my opinion. And I feel like TSJ has answered the call since then. This is all kinds of turmoil that was coming out in December last year. I feel like he's taken that leadership role this year. He's learned a lot from that year, and he's taken a lot of that into this year. And I feel like he's really grown into not only just a really good basketball player, but a really good leader as well. So, let's see. Here's one comment in the chat. Some folks are talking about Indiana as top 3, no bad losses, but also no signature wins. Not impressed yet. I have not been impressed by Indiana. It would have been impressive if they beat Kansas, even though I'm not really that high on Kansas. But I was watching them against Morehead State last night, bro. They have not been impressive at all, and they haven't played well against teams that they should beat. I mean, they almost lost to Louisville, and they beat Wright State by 9. They gave up 80 points to Wright State. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. How many minutes are we in? We're at 22 minutes in. Wow. Okay. So let me know your thoughts on TSJ. If you think I'm right, if I'm wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I think he's en route to get all the accolades at the end of the year, and I think that he will take Illinois as far as they can go. You know what I mean? So I thought against Colgate, Quincy Guerrier also continuing his nice little stretch that he's having now. 15 points against Colgate, 2 of 2 from 3. That was coming off the Tennessee game where he played very well. I think that bodes well for Illinois going into this game against Mizzou, because before he had some injury issues at the beginning of the year and you just didn't really know what you're getting. It seems like he's starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, and I feel like that bodes well against Mizzou because they're going to need TSJ to show up. They're going to need Marcus Damask to show up, and then they're going to need that third option, and it could be Quincy Guerrier or Coleman Hawkins or both. Again, 4 guys in double figures against Colgate. Well, Mizzou is not Colgate. So if all 4 of them are in double figures, I think Illinois wins that game. I have a clip, and credit to WCIA in Champaign for getting this clip of Brad Underwood talking about Mizzou. And I'm going to play it right now. Let me see. I got to share the screen. Here we go. Can you guys see it? I think you guys see it.
One of the lower points of the season last year. Where are you at after the finals week heading into Mizzou this year compared to where your mindset was last year?
Well, different calendar, first of all. So we'll actually have some time to actually have a good solid week of practice, I hope. They were good. They got guys playing in the NBA. They were good. And, we'll see. We don't know what this week looks like. I mean, we got to have a good week of practice. We got a good week of preparation. They're very different. They played differently. They played the way I played it when I was at SFA. They're up the line, on the line. You're not going to run anything against them. They're going to deny everything. They've got a guard, the East kid, who played a little bit last year, who's turned into a star for him this year. And, so you've got to be prepared for him. And, I thought mentally we were we were just drained last year, and then we were really, really young, and all of that I think was way too much for us last year. Now we'll see if we can have a little better approach this year.
Okay. Greg, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Northside Bound. He says that he couldn't see it, but he can hear it. So I hope you all heard it. He was just Brad Underwood just talking about, this was post game after the last game against Colgate, talking about going into Mizzou. And I thought what he said about how they were too young last year and mentally not being there and all these things. And I guess, not enough time to, the calendar didn't, shape up well for them. I don't remember how many days of rest they had going into the Mizzou game last year, whatever. All I know is, guys, I can't take another game like that against Mizzou. I mentally can't do it. That, and I will give credit where credit is due. Mizzou ended up being way better than I expected them to be. They ended up being like a 2 seed in the NCAA, or no, they were like a 7 seed. They were in the NCAA tournament, and going into last year, I didn't think they were a tournament team. So they proved me wrong, and that's fine. Now, I expect Mizzou to be competitive again this year. And this game, this Braggin Rights game, is always competitive. So, and I said this in the last podcast. There are two things that I can sit here and complain about Brad Underwood. All right. No Sweet 16 appearances, and we're 2-4 against Mizzou. All right. No Sweet 16 appearances, and we're 2-4 against Mizzou in the Braggin Rights game in the Brad Underwood era. All right. It's got to change. It just got to change. Illinois is a better basketball program than Mizzou. It's facts. All right. They have owned the Braggin Rights series over the course of time. All right. I was looking it up the other day, to be honest with you, because I wanted to know what Illinois' record was in this series. And I believe Illinois leads like 30-22 all time in this series, something like that. I'm looking it up. Shout out to Wikipedia. All right. I was looking this up the other night because I was bored and the Cubs weren't doing shit, so I needed to be pissed about something else. My bad. Illinois leads 33-20. They're 33-20 against Mizzou in this Braggin Rights series. All right. They have lost 3 of the last 4 games. They have lost 3 of the last 4 games against Mizzou. And I can't take it. Make that 4 out of 5, actually. I forgot the 2018 loss too. All right. They lost last year 93-71. Illinois won 88-63 in 2021. They lost to Mizzou in 2020. They lost to Mizzou in 2019, and they lost to Mizzou in 2018. All right. Before that, Illinois had won 5 straight. So that one might say Illinois is due. Illinois is due to get to win this game and then go on a nice 5-6 game winning streak against Mizzou. I hope that the guys from last year's team that are still on this team have not forgot. I mean, they got their butts whooped. It was one of the most embarrassing losses that I have watched in the Brad Underwood era, of the competitive Brad Underwood era, because year 1, year 2, they were like rebuilding years, right? But since 2019, 2020, the 2019 going to 2020 season, since that season, Illinois has been very solid under Brad Underwood, right? So yeah, I don't necessarily look at 2017, 2018, even though the very first game that Brad Underwood had against Mizzou as Illinois' coach, Illinois actually won 70-64 back in 2017. But again, 2-4, man. It's must win in my opinion. And it's also the last non-conference game that you can use to help improve your resume, right? They have Fairleigh Dickinson after this, and I would say that they should run away with that game, but Purdue lost to them in the NCAA tournament, so can't sleep on them. All right. Sorry, Greg. That's my 2 cents on this game, is that you got your butts kicked last year. You've been getting your butts kicked by this just average program, and you're better than this. You absolutely are. You just are. So that's like I'm out for revenge Friday night when we do the live stream and all that. I'll be sitting here with revenge. I'm gonna have I want to destroy Mizzou. I want to win by like 30 points, man. Like run them out the gym. That is ideally what I want. So, we got another comment here from Spurgeon, Cubs fan. So hyped for Friday, and you're right. Must beat Mizzou. No doubt the core guys remember the letdown last year. Yeah. December of last year was freaking brutal. They lost to Mizzou, lost to Northwestern, lost to Penn State. Ugh. Ugh. And yes, I will be live streaming during the game Friday. I've completely made sure I have nothing on my schedule for this game. I will be sitting here sweating this game as a fan. I wish I could gamble on it, but the state of Illinois hates us. So if we want to go through Mizzou's roster, we can do that. They are, and you know, I say like they're an average program, and I say all this and stuff to like hype up Illinois. It's not that I disrespect Mizzou. It's not that at all. All right, they're an SEC school. They are, you know, they have been improved. They have improved under their new coaching staff. It's not that I completely disrespect them. I just think Illinois is a better program than them. Illinois shouldn't lose to schools like Mizzou. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I actually bet on them to beat Seton Hall the other day, and they fucking lost outright. I mean, and I know Seton Hall, you know, I don't know. Like, it's just like it's such a Mizzou loss, in my opinion, for them to lose to Seton Hall. They freaking lost to Jackson State earlier in the season. Like, maybe their team just isn't as good as it was last year. And if so, I don't care. I don't care. You should beat this team every fucking year, brother. So I'm bringing up their roster right now. Bring up their schedule. Go over how they've played. They're 7-4 right now. They've lost 2 straight. That includes a loss to Kansas. So that actually kind of scares me just because, like, that means they're due and they're going to be hungry to come out and play well. They lost by 9 to Kansas. They lost by 6 to Seton Hall. They beat some of their decent wins. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Wichita State. Yeah, they beat Minnesota, which isn't saying much. But they only won by 2 against Minnesota. They got murdered by Memphis. So probably their best win on their schedule is probably Pittsburgh or Wichita State. So yeah, there's nothing about their schedule that's been impressive. They don't have any major blowout wins over major schools. Yeah, they're average. So trying to think, Caleb Brown, he is the one who played well against Illinois last year. He's probably their best player, I would say, right? Gotta slow him down, brother. That's basically what it is. They need to, I think it's him, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Caleb Brown, who's that point guard they have too? He's kind of like, looks kind of thick, but just kind of finds a way to move really fast. How do these D1 college basketball players look like him do it? Like, they just look kind of thick, but then like they move fast and shoot threes well. Oh gosh. Brad Underwood, in the clip I played, he mentioned East. He's leading their team in scoring this year, 17 points per game. Let's see. It says he's shooting 60% from 3. He must not have taken a lot of threes, because that's a very high percentage. I think Nick Honor is the one that I was talking about. Yes, it is. Nick Honor. He is the one who looks just like, he says he's 5'10", 200 pounds. I'm like, man, I'm not too far away from that. Like, if I just drop another 40 pounds, I'm like right there with you, brother. But the way he runs out there, I'm just like, How are you playing D1 hoops? Okay. Credit to him. He's a senior, though, so he's experienced. He's been in this game so many times, so I expect him to play well in this game. Maybe last year, I think it was Kobe Brown. I swear there was a Brown last year that was played well for them. I don't know. Either way, this year's team's a lot different. And East looks like their guy right now. Again, averaging 17 points per game. So, yeah, they got 3 guys who are averaging double figures. They don't really have a true, like a dominant rebounder. Carter averages 6.5 rebounds per game. Noah Carter. Illinois, the one thing that they have done this year is dominate the boards. Illinois has been one of the best rebounding teams in the country. So, I feel like that's how they are going to win this game, is by defense and rebounding. And if they keep shooting the 3 the way that they have been over the last 5 games, continue to make free throws, they should win this game easily, honestly. So, yeah, I'm interested in anyone's thoughts on this game. I'm nervous because it is Illinois and Mizzou. But I just think this Mizzou team's a lot different. And I was right. It is Kobe Brown. He plays for the Clippers now. All right. So I wasn't completely off. I didn't realize he went to the pros. Interesting. Okay. Well, their team's a lot different. I like their coach. He's changed their programs, overview, right? So this is a big game for Illinois. They need to step on their throats early, dictate the pace of the game. Like, I think if they play like they did in that first half against Tennessee, if they can do that for 2 halves, they're going to win this game. You win this game, you got Fairleigh Dickinson, and then you got Northwestern and Purdue. All right. So let's go over Illinois' schedule. A little bit of a look ahead. Not to get too far ahead. So 5 games ago, right before they played Rutgers, I said if they go 3-2, I'd be happy. They went 3-2. They had a chance. Right now they're at 4-1. They're 3-1. They're at 3-1 right now. Sorry. This 4 games ago. Sorry, I cannot talk. I cannot think. It's late. The Cubs haven't done shit, and so they're affecting everything I think about. 4 games ago, right before Rutgers, I said over the next 5 games, if they could go 3-2, I would be happy. They have a chance to go 4-1 if they beat Mizzou on Friday. So that would surpass my expectations, right? That's what I would ideally get. I think obviously that's what we want. I think Illinois should be favored in this game. And they will be, since Mizzou's not ranked and Illinois is. So if they can surpass my expectations on that, great. All right, let's look up their schedule. I think that they have every chance to enter the new year with no losses outside of the loss against Tennessee in Marquette. All right. So you got Mizzou tomorrow, Fairleigh Dickinson next Friday, the Friday after, so a whole week. And then Northwestern on January 2nd in Champaign. And then you go on the road to Mackey Arena and play number 1 Purdue. Who knows where Illinois would be ranked by then. If they beat Mizzou, they beat Northwestern, I would guess that Illinois will be a top 10 team by then. So that could be a really intriguing game. Not trying to jump too far ahead, but this game against Mizzou really will dictate a lot of how, they will get ranked and shit like that going into the new year. And, conference season, that's what everyone shows up to watch college hoops, unless you're some weirdo like me sweating out, these weird ass overs and shit with teams. Like I was sweating Iowa and UMBC tonight, right? So we'll see, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this game against Mizzou. It's 365 days in the making, man. All I've thought about is revenge since last year's game. Like I cannot take another loss to Mizzou in that fashion, at least. If they at least go out there and play hard and then it's a competitive game for the entire tenure and they lose, I'll be pissed. But at least I can say that there was some effort and you feel good going forward. I did not feel good about anything related to Illinois after that game last year. So I hope everyone enjoys the game. Again, I will be back here on my YouTube channel probably right before tip-off. So the game's at 8 o'clock tomorrow or on Friday, I mean. So, I'll probably be live within a few minutes before tip-off. So, and the only way that it will end early is if the Cubs decide to do their jobs and sign people. That's the only way that stream will end. So, if you want to watch the game with me, feel free to come and watch, and we can follow along together. So that's gonna do it. Been talking to this my MacBook Air in my living room to no one other than you guys for the last 40 minutes. So I appreciate y'all for hanging out. It's been real. Be back Friday. Again, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Tell your friends. If you know friends who like Illinois, tell them about the show. Perhaps I appreciate it. If not, that's okay too. I'm just trying to go day by day with this. It's just like an off-season fun thing to do because I love this team. So, as always, I appreciate that support. So, I will see y'all Friday. All right. We're manifesting a win. I'm going to wear nothing but orange to bed tomorrow night. I'll wear orange to bed. I'll wear orange when I wake up. I'll wear orange when I shower. Whatever I got to do, brother, I'll do it. I'll drive down to Champaign and go to freaking Fat Sandwich and scarf it all down, scarf down something. I don't know. Do the challenge. If you know, you know. I'll do whatever you got to do to manifest a win on Friday against Mizzou. I don't know how I'll have the time to actually do that. But if I have to go freaking I got to go to an Illini bar or something tomorrow night to like I don't know, sacrifice something, I will. I whatever you let me know, I'll do it. All right, y'all have a great rest of your night, and I'll see y'all Friday. Later.